Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We appreciate you new listeners for joining us, and if you're coming back, welcome back to the show.
Go Smitty.
That wasn't me, it was him.
What? Huh?
You said you had a joke.
Do you like all these nuts?
You ain't right, man.
Did y'all boys have a good Valentine's Day?
Yep, didn't do
course.
a damn thing.
You're still alive, so you did something right.
Do anything.
Don't tell me you only sandwich.
I didn't even give her that.
I told her to get some cash out.
Before you sandwich.
Yeah, she was gonna need it for services rendered.
Services rendered, baby.
You gotta pay for that shit. Oh, you fucked up.
It ain't cheap.
You got that right.
So I was sitting there, Smitty. I was like, I picked my phone up. I seriously like 3 or 4 times, and I go, I cannot ask this man how his meat is.
So you said your wife to do it. I was like, I'm sitting there, and I look over at my phone. My phone goes off. Me and Heather are standing in the kitchen, and I said, Pam just asked me how my meat was. She was like, excuse me? I was like, so I sent her a picture. Here's my meat.
And she looked at me. She goes, "Oh, that's going to go across wrong." And I said, "You should be involved in the last conversation for the last 30 minutes."
I was laughing the whole time she fucking sent it. I was like, oh my God.
I was like, and if she had the timing like she does with me, I was like, he's probably got a little rye on ice, and he's going to shoot it out his nose.
Nah, not today. Oh, when we last left off, the last episode, you wanted to talk about some pharmaceutical stuff.
Yeah, we can let that go. There's some truth to it, but yeah, it got debunked really fast.
Oh, you couldn't get in. The deeper you dug, the more it was like, crap.
Yeah, I mean it. So this is how it works. Yes, your tax-paying money does pay for medical research.
Yes,
but it doesn't pay for all of it. Another large contribution is charity, and then even some of the pharmaceutical companies obviously will pay for research.
right.
But the big thing that the pharmaceuticals companies pay for, which is why this is the part that's kind of crooked. It's not so much that they buy the rights to the drugs, which that does happen. It's more so that they fund the clinical trials, and then they have a tendency to try and steer the clinical trials in the direction that favors them and not the patient.
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing that I have a beef about it, if you're using tax dollars, which is not always the case, but in the pretense we're using tax dollars, the tax dollars come from me and you. Right. Then why do I have to pay for the damn drug? I should get it for free. And you sell it to everyone else on the world market to make your profit after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Or at the very least, sell it to me at a cheap, at the rate it should be sold at.
Yeah, that I agree with, but there's also what percentage of the tax dollar went to, you're paying for the fact that they developed it. I mean, they had to pay to develop this drug, and however much money they sank into research to figure out how it works. And then they got to pay for the manufacturer of the drug.
I should not be paying more for it than any other country.
No, I agree
no, you shouldn't. I agree with
that. We
that.
should be paying the least amount of money for whatever it is, because the taxpayer funded it.
I think America, we pay the most out of pretty much everywhere.
Like 2,000% more for medications than any other country on the planet.
Yep.
I think it's because we can.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the market dictates that.
Well, Mark Cuban, his drug company's trying. I mean, granted, it's a drop in the bucket, but
Well, I think if he gets, you know, maybe gets his hand because now everybody knows about that. I didn't know about it till you said something.
he's opening a pharmacy now. He's opening his own pharmacy.
Yeah. Well, if he sticks to his guns and he continues, you know, to sell it at lower rates, other companies will have no choice but to come down unless Cuban's like supply chain was to run out, which see that happening too.
Yeah, have you been to the pharmacy lately? Just regular over the counter stuff. Shelves are half empty again.
But yeah, that's how that's how, you know, the competitive market. I mean,
I don't think as much competitive market is the supply chain is still broken and it's failing more so than it did during the collapse a year and a half ago, and they're getting nothing done to solve the problem. That's the real problem.
there's still supply chain. There is supply chain issues through the ports from other countries, China specifically. There's still that, you know. There was a time when I don't even know how they were operating. I don't know who they paid off or what, but you know, the ports were shut down. They just had ships floating for months at a time.
But
yeah, back to the pharmaceutical stuff. I mean, I think what Mark Cuban's doing is great. And I think it's going to create a more competitive
because
pricing.
I just saw something. Two more, they call them PCBs or whatever.
Yeah, there's a Christian group that does this too. That does healthcare insurance. Is the same kind of like Mark Cuban. Cuban, is it Cuban?
Yeah, Mark Cuban.
Yeah, there's a Christian group that does healthcare the same way. I can't recall their name, but I might have to look it up.
But the pharmacy he's launching, because it's a Mark Cuban cost plus drug company. But either way, however, or PBMs, they're called PBMs, but I don't know. I can't remember what the hell that stands for, but those are like that's what he's trying to cut out is
the middleman.
All the middlemen. Apparently, there's a long list of middlemen in the pharmaceutical company. It doesn't just go from manufacturer to the pharmacy. It goes from manufacturer, then it goes to this guy who was the highest bidder, then to this guy, then to this guy, then back. And then sometimes they sell it back to themselves, and then it goes. I don't know. There was a weird round robin that happened with before it ever got to market, basically, and that's why the cost is freaking ridiculous. So the company plans to integrate its pharmacy and wholesaler with its PBM so that the PBM's clients have access to wholesale pricing through the pharmacy. Either way, there's numerous, he's saying here, there are numerous bad actors in the pharmaceutical supply chain preventing patients from getting affordable medicines. The only way to ensure affordable prices get through is to vertically integrate. So he's doing something. He's trying to do something to where it'll make it work instead of like some of these drugs he's talking about. He's going to open up his pharmacy. He's only going to have like 100 generic drugs available or something. But like leukemia treatment, imatinib or whatever it is, has a retail price of $9,600 a month compared to $120 with a common voucher. But through his company, however, it'd be $47 a month. It'll go from $9,600 a month to $47 a month.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, he's trying to solve it. It seems like. I mean, I hope he is legit, and it's truly. He's truly trying to do this for real. I mean, he's got money. He doesn't need money. He's a freaking billionaire. So I don't know. I guess time will tell. Because I've been telling everybody about it, but he just doesn't have that much inventory. He doesn't have that many drugs on his list. You know what I mean? That I'm guessing
it takes a while to build it up when you're charging pennies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of these pharmaceutical companies that are they're like, I'm not fucking selling to you. We're going to lose however much money.
I'm sure that's the case on a lot of designer drugs. Just put a label on it. It's like the sensors that PP has to use for diabetes. It's not covered by insurance. We have to pay cash for it. And the more infuriating part of it's just like the insulin drugs and other stuff. You get a prescription, you pick it up, and if like either the injector pin is bad, they can't warranty it, you don't get another one, they won't fucking refill it. So what do? You see what I'm saying? The whole system's just broken, and they keep making it worse.
So apparently, I just found an article from January 1st of this year, and it says that his Cost Plus drug company continues to revolutionize generic drug pricing. I mean, he just does generic drugs, but he says he's got a customer base of about 1.5 million now. It says the company is fast becoming a major disruptor in generic drug pricing, which is great.
Yep. He hits about 30 to 50 million. Prices are going to come down.
He's now offering more than 350 generic drugs at discounted prices. So his line went up. He's got an online pharmacy. The online pharmacy is launched. Looks like he's holding true. They're adding insulin to the list of drugs. At present, one vial of insulin can cost an uninsured patient as much as $95. And they intend to sell a 90-day supply of 12 vials for $170.
That's cheap.
Yeah. It says it may take a while, however, before insulin becomes available. But he's trying.
Yeah, insulin, that's one of the things that are refrigerated, and it takes time to ship, and you got a limited time to do it. And that's the problem we had with that mail order group that we were dealing with. Not to imply that he's having issues, but we would get shit, and they'd put it in the mailbox, and it'd be 130 degrees, and it's ruined, and then they won't replace it. And they're like, oh, it's safe to use. No, the fuck it ain't. Did you read the direction? I called our doctor, and they said, y'all fucking crazy. But yet, you've already paid for it. You're stuck with it. Now you don't have any medication. And then it's like I was arguing with the company about it. I was like, if I have to take her to the fucking emergency room to get her medication every day because you fucking people made it this way, I'm suing you along with everyone else.
Yeah. And I think
you approved it in the plan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the problem with a lot of it is your doctor doesn't have enough say in how it works.
No, they've taken the doctor out of the equation and made it a profit.
Insurance company. Now the insurance companies are telling you what you can and you should and should. Oh, well, my doctor prescribed it. Yeah, but you don't need it, so we're not paying for it.
No, you got to go through the program. Yeah, exactly. You got to take this first, and if that don't work, you got to take this. Even though it's killing you, then you got to take this third medication to get before we go approve that you to take the fourth medication before we get to the fifth medication that your doctor actually fucking prescribed.
Yeah.
Or the surgical procedure that you needed 10 years ago. And you've been
that's one of the biggest problems we have is insurance companies. The insurance companies are killing people.
Sorry. I apologize.
No, you were making a point.
When it fucks with PP, I get pissed.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of those things get on the news.
Anyway, sorry.
I just saw something. Next? What the hell was I talking about?
Next.
Next.
I had something.
Oh man, got on a rant and y'all got quiet.
I just read about you.
Well. So how's your meat, Smitty? Was it good?
Delicious.
Was it? How did the bacon? Was it still soft or did it crisp up at 350?
No, it was soft.
It was more of a flavor.
I just rip that shit off and eat the pork.
I got you.
You put it.
I learned a trick about bacon like that. Once you let like you did a pork tenderloin, right?
Yeah.
Let it rest as the tenderloin starts to cool down as it finishes cooking. It raises temperature and it starts to fall. You can take one of those like Bunsen burner kind of things.
Oh, a torch.
Yeah, and hit the bacon briefly.
Crisp it up.
Help crisp it up. Never done it with a tenderloin, but I've seen it done.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
I usually, because I wrap a lot of times I'll get bacon wrapped filet mignon.
Ooh.
Cook those, and the bacon's the same way. I'll just rip it off and throw it away. But it gives it good flavor. I just saw Paige Van Zandt promoting the next BKFC fight.
She's still doing it?
No, she's not fighting. She was promoting the next BKFC, whatever it is, but she didn't say she's not fighting. She catches so much hell because I watch, she's got a couple of different channels, her and her husband, and I just think they're funny. Just the two of them and the things they do. And they're just normal, two normal. It's a normal couple their age, just doing shit with money. And she's good looking. He's a fighter. He's in good shape. More power to him. You're making money, whatever the fuck. The vile, just hateful comments that every time she posts, I'm like, God damn, you people are just fucking ruthless, man. They're like, God damn, is she getting fat? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious?
And it'll make sense to you too. Haters hate.
Oh my God.
So you understand it. But when I said that in chat in a different channel here a week and a half ago, they did not understand haters hate. That this last couple of generations did not get the phrase at all. I mean, it was just like blew over their head like a fucking breeze. And that explains exactly almost all the social media shit. Like you're talking about with Paige Van Zant, they're just fucking throwing shade at her because they ain't her.
Oh my God, so much. I mean, any of these, but like I'm on Instagram all the time. I scroll through Instagram and girls posting shit all the time, and this, that, and the other, guys, girls, whatever, posting shit. And sometimes I'll just go through the comments because I'll see something. I'll be like, oh, they're gonna fucking rip her apart for this. I bet. And it doesn't take long. I'm 2-3 fucking comments and I'm like, God damn, they're like wishing her whole family dead. You're an idiot. This is stupid. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. I was like, you cared enough to leave a comment. Does that not?
Well, I look at that as like Dale Earnhardt used to. That's the best fan to have. Because they're paying more attention than the fans.
Pretty much.
And you're making me money because someone else heard your bullshit and they came to the site to look at it. Thank you.
There's so much crazy shit out there now. It doesn't take, you don't have to look hard. Anything you're looking for. It's such a different world.
But Tater, you stirred my curiosity way too much, too many times about BlackRock.
Yeah.
Let me put this one in your earlobe. As of 2021, there's 3 executives from BlackRock on President Joe Biden's cabinet. And evidently that's been a thing. There's been unofficially named a 4th branch of government. It's just being referred to as BlackRock. And the program that they refer to as Aladdin, I remember Aladdin being spoke about, but it was a military program when I remember it probably 25 years ago. If it's the same program, it wouldn't surprise me. And I find it more disturbing that this program, however they're doing it, and this may be misstated in the report, that it's making transactions on Wall Street. I thought you had to be a licensed broker, a physical human being to do this. So I'm not sure how this is being circumvented. But then I found it more curious after you pointed that out, that one of these executives is now part of the Treasury Department. And why or how, without congressional approval, did they get $2 trillion for this computer to reinvest it in itself, according to the report, after they lost $1.7 trillion last year? That is mind-numbing to me. And you can't find this shit in the news nowhere. You got to dig.
Right.
So it goes on to say that this program, quote unquote.
Are we talking about BlackRock, the investment management company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they refer to BlackRock as the 4th branch of government. That's how enrooted the entire thing is. They say there's 5,000 computers that are now acting as the central nervous system for investors. And it's this group.
Yeah.
So when they took $1.7 trillion loss last year, it's very ironic with the Biden administration dumping $2 trillion into them. If this is true or not, there seems to be more than one report, but you can't find nothing on a government website of what they do with their money for at least 9 years after the fact. And they had a role in what was being done with the COVID money.
Well,
Right.
considering they manage $10 trillion worth of assets, 1.3 trillion really ain't that much.
Well, the program supposedly has access to 21.6 trillion globally.
Right.
Of the little that I found today, posted some of it in chat. It's it answers a lot of our questions of what we've been pointing out over the years. Some that we've touched on in the show, other things that we have not. This will probably be one of the episodes that gets suppressed. And
I mean,
you want to know another thing before you fire off there that was curious to me, and I think I know how they're doing it. When they translate to auto script for closed caption is how they're circumventing the algorithm searches. So you like dodge the Victor Bout key phrase, which they're not fitting into the feeds, for instance. They're using the closed caption to find the keyword, and that's how they're suppressing it on the back end. It's very obvious.
yeah, I could see that.
It only took me a few minutes to figure that one out after what we did on the last go around. And then it started to pick up, and then it fell off a shelf. And the only way to pick up a key phrase word is through the closed caption that they automatically do. So it was very blatantly obvious. Probably not to the average user, but
Yeah. No, but I mean, from what I read, BlackRock pretty much runs the world for the most part.
PNC just acquired them? Or they just merged with PNC?
there's a lot of tentacles to this conversation, Smitty. It's way deeper. I did not realize that State Street is in this same conversation, and they're intertwined. And Vanguard. Vanguard's a very, very well-known and reputable company, and they own, I believe it's said, a sizable chunk of BlackRock.
Well, it doesn't surprise me.
No, it don't. I mean, it sounds very intuitive to do so, but this puts BlackRock in a position kind of like when the market fell before, where Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, and all them kind of had a problem. They got bailed out. Now BlackRock's as big as they are, and they also hold pension funds. They're going to get bailed out no matter how bad they fuck up at the taxpayers' expense.
I think the scarier thing is that it's AI that's doing it, and like,
Yeah.
I forget who said it, but like one guy was saying like the whole AI thing, like, and all the stuff that you see like in the movies, like some of that stuff is real. Like, you know, AI can learn. You know, it's just like Google. Google listens and it learns your habits. It learns, you know, it listens to keywords and phrases that you say. That's why you see ads and things of that nature that you were just talking about, you know.
All of them use those algorithms.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they're getting smarter. And at what point, for me, the scary thing is the AI side of it, because it's like, at what point does, you know, crazy conspiracy guy over here, when does the AI turn on you and you can't shut it off?
Well, that, and when it fails, like we're talking about,
Right.
the politicians are bailing it out.
Yeah. Well, I think this is more like these guys are the men in dark suits that, you know, come and see the president and tell him all his promises are not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like we run this, not you. You will do as we say. It's why a lot of things happen. I mean, if you really think about it.
Yeah, it's been like that for a long time.
Yeah, it's been about money. It's always been about money.
Yeah, the one gentleman that I mentioned before, I can't even pronounce this dude's name, Dielmo, is the Deputy Treasury Secretary for the Biden administration.
Yeah.
He was also Obama's senior international economics advisor, and he's a BlackRock guy. I mean, this is like straight out of Hollywood. Everything that we're finding, it's fucking frightening. And this goes back to why term limits need to be in play. If these people can't hang out in Washington, people like this can't control them.
What are you gonna say, Smitty?
He looks young too. He's not, but he looks young. It doesn't surprise. I mean, these guys are all about money. They live in money. So, to be perfectly honest, if I was going to have anybody run my treasury, should it be a guy that knows this much about money?
But only a few of them do, and the computer's doing the rest. And then the rest of these financial firms are going to them to lease access to the bot.
Yeah, but they're analyzing all this. I mean, they're not just letting it go free willy nilly. I mean, they're checking all this shit to make sure everything's working the way they want it to. Trust me, they're making sure it's going the right direction because AI doesn't know whether it's making money or losing money. It's just doing what it does to an extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but the way this is worded in several different news reports, it has more control and no boundaries, or fewer boundaries. Let me say that. Like in what we do in work, our bots have boundaries. They can't get out of their box in how we control things. You know what I'm saying? It's a very controlled atmosphere. You can't get out of Pandora's box. There's no exit. It's trapped inside the box. It has no access to the outside world. So nothing can influence it. You know what I mean? But this thing is intertwined globally, and it don't appear to have very many boundaries.
No, it's not ever going to work right if they don't let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the frightening part. And if this program is old as they claim it is.
Yeah, they're showing he worked for BlackRock from 2017 to 2019.
Because I think this started back in the 90s, late 90s.
Well, he was born in 81.
The program that I remember, if it's part of this, was from the 90s. And that's around the same time people were freaking out about the Terminator and all that.
Yeah, so I said Skynet became self-aware. But I mean, it is what it is. What are you so what are you worried about?
I ain't worried about nothing about it other than they're going to fucking destroy the world at some point, but or knock on my front door and I got
Oh yeah, we're going to kill ourselves off for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind about that.
And all these groups are intertwined in this maze of shit.
Yeah. Money.
Yeah. Follow the money.
Haves and the have-nots. There is no black. There is no white. There's no yellow. There's the haves and the have-nots, just like people have been saying for years. And I believe in more and more of why they say football players, baseball players, basketball players, why they make so much money. It's the Roman circus.
Yes. Correct.
Keep the fucking idiots occupied while we do all this shit over here.
Yep.
As long as they're fighting about whether or not Tom Brady's going to fucking retire, they ain't going to look over here.
The whoopie-doo. I mean, think about it. Think of the whoopie-doo going on right now.
Everybody talking about fucking LeBron and all that
shooting
stupid
down
bullshit.
UFOs. Really?
It's a non-stop Kansas City shuffle.
Yes.
Kansas City shuffle, baby. We're shooting down UFOs. Really? What are you trying to pull this time?
Have they released photos of the ones that they claim to have shot down recently?
The one recently down over the went in the lake, they said they can't get it.
I watched, they had pictures of them pulling it out of the water on a boat.
No, that was the satellite on the high level. That one that was around 60,000 feet or whatever. That's the first one. They've shot down 3 more since then, and someone reported a fifth one. Smaller objects. They're saying one was an octagon with no visual propulsion that they shot down. Come on, man. What kind of bullshit you trying to whoopie-doo here?
I didn't hear about nothing. I guess I'm just not paying attention either, though.
Yep. They shot down 3 more right after the first one, and they claim there was another one here in the last few days. But they have no press release and no comment from the White House. You would think that would be priority one, that you're hearing, oh, we're shooting down UFOs, but you're not saying anything?
Well, I think they're just calling them that. They don't mean alien UFOs. They just mean they didn't know what it was, so they shot it down. They just don't know where the hell it came from. I'm sure somebody's got an idea. They're not telling us.
And then I think it was Hannity was mocking the fact that we had a Sidewinder miss on the first shot of something that was damn near stationary at $400,000 for a missile, and they had to shoot it twice. He's got a point there.
Did they?
Yeah. On one of the second or third incident, how do you miss with a fucking laser-guided heat-seeking missile? They
on
said
the
it's
tape.
Well,
They
there was
can't-
no heat.
they can't find the object, but they know where the missile is.
Oh, they found the missile.
Oh yeah, they said it's safely in the bottom of the lake.
But I don't understand why they use that and they didn't just use guns. That's what I don't understand.
Well,
Good
with
question.
The latter three, that's a good question because I don't think they were as high. I don't know
Yeah,
how that atmosphere at that height would affect a bullet versus a missile. I'm not sure.
I think
Works
they were.
pretty good in that dogfight.
I think they said they were around. A couple of the recent ones were around 20,000 feet and placed risk to commercial aircraft. That's the reason they put the down order.
Did you see the video clip on Rogan about it was a fighter pilot and he was talking about how he would mess with like people who were camping?
No,
What?
Right. So they were talking about UFOs.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, you can make your jet look like a UFO
How
at
so?
nighttime. At nighttime.
okay.
So he was saying what they do is they would fly with night vision goggles, and they could see the campfires. So I don't know. I don't know exactly how low they were allowed to fly whenever they were doing this type of stuff.
In a
I
jet.
mean, they weren't. Yeah, I mean, they weren't doing this specifically to mess with campers, but I mean, I'm sure they had some type of, flight plan or whatever. But he said you would get, I forget what jet they were flying, but you would get it up to like 600 knots and then throttle back to idle, like when you were close to them. And something with the lights, you could turn your lights off, but you'd still have where the other planes could see you, but nobody else could. And he said you pull back to idle, and then right as you got up on them, you'd floor it and pull up, kind of similar to how Maverick did in that movie. And because it's nighttime and you got no lights, and you just turn that, the burners on, it just looks like, he said it would just, and then you would,
like a
down the
90-degree angle. Yeah, that makes sense.
But that would explain, like, at least some people
Random
Yeah.
reports. Yeah.
saw a UFO.
I mean, you can go past, and this is going to sound weird, a water tower at night with no ambient street lights. And when cars are going past it, it looks like Danger Will Robinson flying saucer on the bottom, because you'll see the ring around the concave of the blower structure and you won't see the legs. I don't know if you ever noticed it before, but it'll do it. It just looks weird as shit. If you don't know that there's one there or pay attention, you'll be like, what the fuck is that? And then you'll look over, oh, it's the water tower.
Well, I got no doubt in my mind that 99% of the fucking UFOs that people think they've seen have been aircraft.
Probably. Because visually, when you get to these types of altitudes, everything looks weird because it's distorted.
Well, the way it goes through, they go through clouds, or they're flying at low altitude, or they're transitioning, or whatever they're doing. Because usually it seems like it's always near a base. It's always, you know what I mean? There's always
There's
an
contributing
explanation in my
factors
mind.
to a lot of it, and a lot of it's ignored too.
Because
You
like a
gotta
lot of that shit that was going on in Roswell, New Mexico back in those days was skunk works.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me.
It's funny that you say Skunk Works. I was thinking about them the other day. And what would be a great one-liner and a gaffe for Biden would be for him to say, hey, it wasn't us. If you see something going at least Mach 5, give me a call.
Yeah, right.
Right over China. I was thinking Blackbird the other day. I was like, just fucking send it. Full tilt boogie right over China.
China is claiming we've been doing it for years anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised we have.
We probably
But,
have. That's why they're pissed we shot theirs down.
The thing is, we got the Blackbird, right? Which is pretty much retired. Every now and then they drag it out of mothballs.
We had it. We got better shit now.
And it cruised, what, Mach 3.6 or somewhere like that? It was north of Mach 3 on the boogie end. And that was developed in the 60s. Is that correct?
It started flying in the 70s, I believe.
Yeah. So
71.
50 years ago.
70.
So at least 50 years ago, we were exceeding Mach 3 plus at 80,000 feet. What do we not know about today? that we're capable of doing.
Please, if anybody has any questions or comments, hit us up at primecohesion@gmail.com or head to our Facebook page at Prime Cohesion on Facebook and leave some comments. We'd appreciate it.